everywhere you look. NFL preseason comes to an end as 50-man rosters are now set.
Sorry.
College football finally kicks off with exciting matchups everywhere you look. NFL preseason wraps up as rosters are cut down to 53, and there's plenty of headlines for college Texas football going into the 2023 season. All of this and more coming up on the 1-0 Sports Show.
Texas finally 1-0, finally riding for the brand.
And I'm getting back on my soapbox saying that if they just hit and rap and drive, then that play doesn't happen.
You heard it here first from Hunter. Book your plane tickets to Omaha today.
But we're not done yet.
No, shot. You're not serious.
Are you kidding me? So that's the third time.
That's terrible.
Did you believe this was possible at the beginning of the season?
Oh, I always believe.
Always drink the Kool-Aid.
That's all I'm in for the Cowboys right now.
Today's show is brought to you by Cat Metro, Austin's transit system. We connect you to work, school, play, and everywhere in between. Plan your ride this weekend's game with Cat Metro at catmetro.com. With that being said, we finally kick off another 1-0 Sports Show this semester. Kind of a late start, sorry for that. We have some technical difficulties we always run into, but my name is Michael Alvarez. Along with me is Justin Goosman. Justin, how you doing this morning?
Pretty good. How about yourself, Michael?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. It's still a little hot outside, but I think we'll be all right getting everything. But
Absolutely.
if that's all we got, we can kick into what we got. So who's hot for you this week?
Who's hot for me? I got to go with Inter Miami. Since Messi has arrived, they have absolutely been on fire. They qualified for the U.S. Open Cup final, and they have shown no signs of slowing down. With 9 straight wins, Inter Miami has been on a tear the last few games. And, you know, with Messi comes all the attention that he brings. That's a GOAT that we're watching in the United States for the first time in his career. So I got to go with Inter Miami.
That's fair. I mean, you do have the GOAT on your team, so, I mean, it's kind of hard not to be great, but, you know, it's what it is. For me, I got to go with Austin Reeves, who has been killing it all summer with the USA men's national team.
Absolutely.
He's one of the, since LeBron, the only player to have 15, 5, and 5 in a game, so, you know, I had to throw out the LeBron stat there, just how it is. But, I mean, he's taking key roles. He's finishing games over Jalen Brunson and Brandon Ingram, so, I mean, he's really made quite the step this year. I'm really excited to see what he does during the regular season. And then for you, who's not hot for you this week?
Who's not? Staying in the FIBA World Cup, I got to go with the France national team. The French didn't even make it out of the group stage, and they are one of the most talented rosters in the entire World Cup. You look at guys like Nicolas Batum, Rudy Gobert, a defensive player of the year. This team has talent everywhere you look. Evan Fournier. And the fact that they didn't make it out of the group stage, y'all, if this was the United States, like, this would have been one of the biggest deals in the entire World Cup. But because it's France, you know, it's not as big of a deal, at least in the United States, in terms of mainstream media. But that's who's not for me. The French national team didn't even make it out of the group stage. An utter disappointment if you're the French.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, Rudy Gobert hasn't been the same since he touched all those mics back in 2020. But we'll move on from that. For me, who is not, even though he has not played yet, I have to throw out JT Daniels. He's coming to Austin for the 3rd time in his career. He's been on like 7 different teams. This is like his 9th transfer. I don't know. And he's on a Rice team that doesn't look like they have a shot to be the Longhorns this weekend. And he lost back in 2018 with USC by 17. Fast forward to last year, he loses by 18 here with West Virginia. And then now Rice comes in this weekend to DKR for most likely his 3rd loss here in Austin. And I just think that's hilarious. But that's who's not hot for me. And then we can move on to what's trending. College football week 1's coming up. What's most exciting matchup?
For me, most exciting matchup is LSU versus Florida State. Yes, it's on a Sunday, but I know me and you are excited because we have Monday off, so I am thrilled for this matchup. I see LSU as a potential playoff team with SEC championship aspirations, and Florida State has finally put together a program post-Jimbo Fisher that can compete in the ACC. So I have to go with LSU and Florida State. That's the matchup for me. Playoff implications down the line. But what about you, Michael?
I'm excited to see Florida State because we know LSU has the hype coming in from last year, and Florida State, yes, they look like they might finally be back, but we say the same thing every year with Texas, but we won't get into that. But I'll move on to my exciting. I have the Battle of the Carolinas this weekend. You have Drake May, who was a potential Heisman candidate this year. He's coming off a 9-win season with UNC last year. I'm really excited to see what he can do. And on the other side, with South Carolina, you have Spencer Rattler, who's really he's trying to finally pick it up at South Carolina. And, I mean, he's finally looking like the quarterback Oklahoma wanted when he was there. And I think that's going to be a great matchup to see kind of how each team's going to play out this year.
Definitely. It feels like they finally put an offense that Spencer Rattler is comfortable in.
Yeah.
And Drake May, like you said, Heisman candidate. They could be a team in the ACC to watch out for. If he gets hot this year, maybe they make a playoff run. You never know.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. I just want to see more than the four same teams we see every year. But I'll be happy with anything. But
100%.
Moving on, what's the best thing you saw on Twitter this week?
The best thing I saw on Twitter this week, that's tough. There was a lot of great content coming out of training camp. But I got to go in the media sphere. Skip Bayless, obviously he has his new co-hosts. No longer with Shannon Sharp. He was with Richard Sherman, Michael Irvin, and who was the third? Keyshawn Johnson. And Skip couldn't get a single word in. It was great. It was for the first time on TV where Skip was not dominating in terms of just being his loud self, making egregious takes, and watching him have to control the room almost it was so funny to me. He's normally not the silent guy on TV, but for this one, he had to be. What about you?
I agree with that. Skip, it was great to see Skip shut up for once. It was pretty funny that he kind of just sat there and just had to listen to three guys talk. But, it was a great thing to watch. But for me, I had to go with something I saw probably a few days ago. It was the Ravens team meeting, and rookie wide receiver Zay Flowers, they're having the rookies come up, and he explained who he is, what college he went to, and his draft bonus, and he threw out $7 million. And you can see OBJ in the background. He has a basketball in his hand. He kind of just falls and flips out of his chair. I think that's really funny. And then not to mention, after he flipped the chair, they flip back to Zay, and then his teammate next to him takes off his bucket hat and throws it up like he's begging for change. And I really thought that was that one had me laughing for a little bit, and that was one of my favorite things I saw. But we move on to one more thing. Roster cuts. That's always the toughest part of the NFL season, NFL preseason. Any surprises you saw there? Any trades?
Obviously the Trey Lance trade is surprising, but in terms of roster cuts, I have to go with the Cardinals cutting Colt McCoy. You see the clip of Jonathan Gannon talking about he wants killers on the team, but then you're cutting your second best QB who didn't look too bad last year. He's a backup quarterback. You can't expect him to be the second coming of Jesus Christ, but really? In that division where the best quarterback is arguably Geno Smith, you're cutting Colt McCoy? I don't agree with it. I understand that there may be a little Texas bias in me, but I really just don't think that Colt McCoy deserved to be cut, especially given the way he played for the Cardinals last year.
I agree, but at the same time, it might just be time for Colt to hang him up.
That's true too.
It's been a long time. I don't know if anyone's going to pick him up. This might be his early retirement party, but me personally, I look at it as I didn't see a lot of crazy trades, obviously like the Trey Lance trade, but I got to take mine to the Giants taking L's as usual. They cut. It was really what I saw the most was their wide receiver room. You cut Cole Beasley. I know he's kind of old, but I love Cole Beasley. I love what he did last year with the Bills. He came in there. He was a great slot receiver. He gave you excellent red zone play. And I just never saw them cutting him this early in the season. I thought he could really been a benefactor. And then I'm going to throw my Texas bias out there. They also cut Colin Johnson, a Longhorn legend. And, he would have been your tallest, most built wide receiver on your team at 6'5". I don't understand how you can cut him preseason. I didn't see anyone on the roster that really, as a name, jumped out to me. So I just thought that was kind of a hard cut for me. So, yeah, Giants as it is always. But,
Absolutely. I agree with you. The Cole Beasley cut is a little bit questionable. They definitely could use some help in that wide receiver room. But with Jalen Hyatt, you never know. They could get it going this year with the offense, see what Danny Dimes has in store for him.
Oh, yeah. Danny Dimes might have a big break. But that's all we got for this block. But don't go anywhere. We're coming up with our best plays of the week we have. And on Judge, we have Nate Sheldon coming on, and really excited for that. You don't want to miss it coming up on the 1-0 Sports Show. morning. Welcome back to the 1-0 Sports Show. As you can see, I'm joined along our friend Nate Sheldon. Nate, how you doing this morning?
It's good to be here, ready to be the almighty judge today.
Oh yeah, I mean I think we got some pretty good plays that we picked out for you this week. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Absolutely.
So Goose, what's your best NFL preseason play?
Best NFL preseason play has to come from the Chiefs and Saints game just a couple of weeks ago. The Chiefs put in Shane Buechele, Longhorn legend. He was looking like Pat Mahomes out there. Evade a couple defenders, finds his guy in the end zone, touchdown for the Chiefs. It was just an absolutely great play. Patrick Mahomes was going wild on the sideline. I felt like that was the best preseason play, especially seeing it come from a guy like Shane Buechele. What's yours, Mike?
I'm also a QB play, a name I don't think anyone's ever going to recognize. Nathan Rourke.
Okay.
Casually breaking about 2 or 3 tackles in the pocket, and then with a guy wrapped around his legs, delivers a strike into the end zone. I don't know how he did it. I mean, he'll sit there, and first guy, let me just break that off. Let me break off that one too. This guy's wrapped in my legs. It's fine. Let me square up and throw a strike to the end zone. And I was like, wow, I did not see that coming. But yeah, that was my favorite play of the preseason.
Falling down, that was crazy.
Oh yeah.
Nate, who you got?
So to do my job properly, I probably need a telescope. I'm looking at a very small screen here. I mean, the second play, like the pocket just looked like a combination of pixels. It was very hard to judge. So I got to go with the first play simply because it was more visible to me.
Yeah. So.
Sweet, we'll take it.
Technical difficulties strikes me down, but it's all right. I think both plays are pretty good. So I mean, I can't get mad at Shane Buechele highlight. So I'll take that loss there. But we'll move on to the best MLB play of the week. Justin, what you got?
Best MLB play is a record-breaking home run from Bryce Harper, his 300th home run of his career. Philly fans went absolutely ballistic after this one, just smashes it deep into right field. Obviously, as soon as that goes in, he's hyped, fired up. That's got to be my best MLB play of the week. Just really special to see him reach that milestone in his career.
Oh, yeah. I think mine's going to be very similar. I'm putting another home run in there, but mine's going to be Jose Altuve's home run to complete the cycle. First Astro player in 10 years to do that, 9th all time. And I thought that was a pretty exciting thing to do. I think he went in order, too. A single, double, triple, then home run. So he booms one into midfield and completes the cycle. I thought that was a pretty cool thing to see. I was actually watching that game.
Over the
with my
wall,
dad.
too?
Yeah, over the wall, of course. You know, Altuve, he may be short, but he's got some power behind those swings and them legs. So, I mean, it was pretty exciting to see him, especially because he did it in order. It wasn't just he ran a triple, then a single. He ran single, double, triple, then a home run.
Wow.
It was a pretty exciting thing to see. But, yeah, that was my favorite play of the week.
So I like to look at the play itself, regardless of the context. 300 home runs is interesting. But seeing Altuve, he looks like a peewee player, just hitting bombs. I can't even really believe my eyes when I see it. So just out of sheer impressibility, I got to go with Michael's highlight.
That's understandable.
I mean, if you know Altuve, he always swings in the first pitch. So he swung on that one, boomed to the runner center field. I thought that was always pretty funny. I mean, he's a short guy, but he's got a lot of power. But we'll move on. Best MLS play of August. What you got?
Best MLS play of August. I mean, it's got to be Messi's debut game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. First game in the United States. All the stars are out in Miami. And what does he do? He hits a game-winning goal. First ever game at Inter Miami. I mean, just stuff of legends. Obviously, yes, say what you want about how the MLS is not as strong as European leagues or Spanish leagues, whatever. I don't care. First game in the United States to hit a game winner, that's impressive to me.
I have to agree with that. I mean, it is the greatest ever step on the field. So, I mean, you can never go wrong with the GOAT. And then I'm not a huge soccer fan, so I did some digging for this one. But I saw Lucho Acosta. He's an MVP favorite.
Okay.
And he gives a little like a basketball play. That's why I liked it. He gives him a little give and go. It's going to be very hard to see, so I'll kind of explain what we're looking at here. He's going to run to the middle. He's going to flip one. It's going to bounce off. His teammate's going to head it back to him. He's going to strike it back into the goal. So this may hurt my chances due to technical difficulties, but that was kind of my little give and go basketball reference there. So I thought it was pretty fun for me. But
100%.
On the last set of highlights, I said context is not really important. But when it's Messi, that changes everything. The only reason we're even talking about MLS highlights right now is because of this one single man. So I got to give this one to Goose.
Let's go.
I can't get mad at that. Can't argue with a goat highlight. I'd feel the same way with LeBron every time. But we'll move on to the worst ump/referee mistake this week.
Okay.
What you got?
Okay. This isn't technically an ump mistake. This is actually a referee being on top of their game, and we're gonna stay in the MLS. Messi was he had a free kick, and every time the referee turned their back, he tried to move the ball onto the perfect spot, almost like tee it up off the grass, right? But every single time the referee would turn around and be like, not today. You cannot do that, sir. Move that ball back. And then he would do it again. So it was just really funny to see that kind of thing, referee on top of their game. But Messi, trying to game the system a little bit, put the ball in a better spot. He knows what he's doing.
Wow, giving praise to a referee is something you don't see a lot in sports. So I think that he's on top of his game, though. I think it is pretty funny trying to move the ball up and down. But, sometimes the refs are on it. Now, I moved to an umpire. Now, this, when I heard it, was pretty funny. Shane Livenspager, I think if I said that right, in the Blue Jays-Cleveland game, he didn't have not 1, not 2, not 5 missed calls, but 23 noticeable missed calls. You can see the pitcher. It's right there. Oh, that's a strike. That's a strike. And you can see you can see them just audibly just upset. You can see the pitcher throw his hands on his head. He's like, no way he didn't call that. I thought it was 23 noticeable. I understand it's maybe touches the corner and you don't get it, but under the knees, down left on a oh my God,
23?
23 missed calls.
Does he still have a job?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I hope so, for his sake, but that's what I got. What you got, Nate?
We're only doing best 3 out of 5 for this judging process. I figure 2-2 is a lot more interesting going into the last round than 3-1. So
Are you admitting to rigging it?
Of course. Go ahead, for Michael.
That's crazy.
No, good. I like that. It's valid. It worked in my favor. And I guess we'll end off these best plays with week 0. College football. Justin, what you got?
Week 0, I understand Nate's not a big context guy, but I think it's pretty cool when you got the Fighting Irish playing in Ireland. And of course, Sam Hartman wasn't messing around this weekend. The Irish obviously won that game by a steady margin, but you see him, he drops back here, drops it right in the breadbasket over a defender's shoulder, an absolute dime to his receiver to get into the end zone. Look at it one more time, drops back. Oh, blanket coverage right in the breadbasket for the touchdown. I felt like that was the best week 0 play. And it happened in Ireland. You got a bunch of drunk Irish people watching that game going crazy. It was fun to see.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to have to go with Zachariah Branch, freshman out of USC, with a kick return. Takes it to the house off of, I think they were playing San Diego State. That kind of closed the gap on them on a top 6 team. You don't want to see that. I think they were about a 15-point game at this point. Comes in, breaks a tackle there, and then just outruns everyone else to the house. San Jose State. That's who it is. My apologies. But he comes back in here, and I love kickoff returns because your offenses have to step on the field. You got 7 points in 15 seconds, so that's my best play of the week. What you got?
To decide the winner, I'm gonna go back to the theme of context. Who knows if I care or not about it, but. Yeah, anything you do in Ireland is cooler inherently. That stadium had to have been rocking with all of those inebriated Irishmen. So that would have been fun to be there, going with Goose for the win.
Let's go. I don't know if that was the best play from the college football week, but the fact that they were in Ireland absolutely had to take the cake over everything else.
And the Irish were with the Irish, so I can't get mad at that. I can't argue that.
100%.
It was a good week.
Good
Tough
competition.
Loss, but it's all right. I'll try and shake back again whenever I get back on. But that's it for us this block. Coming up, we got a Big 12 preview. Nate, we thank you for coming on, but don't worry, you'll be coming back for our pick'ems at the very end.
Yes, sir.
And it's I'm excited to move on, but don't want to miss it coming up. Want to Know Sports Show. Buongiorno and welcome back to the 1-0 Sports Show. I'm sorry if you have no idea what that word means. I'm in Italian right now. It means good morning. My teacher
Okay.
says practice makes perfect, so I might as well throw that out there right now. But, I just thought I'd get some practice in. But right now we got the Big 12 coming up. Football season's coming around the corner. UT's last time in the conference. I'm excited to see how this shapes out. I'm also excited to move to the SEC. But, I really want to see if UT can finally make that push and win a conference title in the first time in like
100%.
over a decade. But moving in, they came up with the projections probably about a few weeks ago. Who did you see that you think should have been projected to go higher?
Yeah, Fox's projection has Kansas finishing at 6th. I don't think Kansas is finishing that low. I think with Jaden Daniels coming back, Jason Bean proved himself to be a serviceable quarterback last year as well. And the all new facilities, the culture that they're building over in Kansas, I really think that Kansas is going to finish up higher than 6th. If they were going to finish higher than anybody on this list, I think it's probably Kansas State, given that they've lost some of their talent. They're not going to be bringing back guys like Deuce Vaughn next year. So I really do think that Kansas is going to finish higher than 6th. What about you, Mike?
I got to go with Tech. I think Fox had them at 4. ESPN had them at 5. Either way, I think they're above both of those. I think they take that second or third spot just because, they have 19 returning starters. And Joey McGuire looks like he might be finally trying to prove himself up there. They finally jumped to an 8-win season last year, which is, it's not something crazy, but for Tech, they usually sit at the 5 and 7, the 6 and 6 rounds to go ahead and get 8 wins for you is pretty helpful for them. Also, you can never doubt that fan base. That's something I got to give Tech is that they have really loyal, loud, annoying fans. And also they have a renovation coming up to their stadium. They're making it a little bigger, adding some more seats. And a lot of people. I saw some New Year's Six. Some people pick them to go to a New Year's Six Bowl. So this team could really be a shocker, really surpriser out of the Big 12.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they can at least get up to third, just because TCU. I think they're gonna have a drop back. So I got to go with Tech to finish a little higher. But we go with higher. Now let's drop to lower. Who do you think is going to go finish a little bit lower than they were projected?
Yeah, you talk about Tech finishing potentially 2nd or 3rd in the conference. The Fox projections has Oklahoma at 2nd, and I really just don't think Oklahoma is there quite yet. It's the 2nd year in the Brent Venables era, and I really just don't think that they have the talent and the depth to be a top 2 team in the Big 12. They're no longer really a recruiting powerhouse. They lost a lot of guys in the transfer portal. Venables is in a position that Steve Sarkisian was in last year. Maybe they find themselves 3rd or 4th in the conference, but some of those bigger games, I'm just not sure if they're quite all there to win some of those, put all that together to be 2nd in the conference. So I don't think they're finishing top 2. I just think that's a little too high for them.
I have to agree with you. Oklahoma has dropped a lot. Last year it shows that Lincoln Riley gone, their recruiting came in and just wasn't strong enough to compete with anything, especially in that Red River Rivalry game. Didn't put up any points, but I can't complain about that. But, I got to go with a similar route there. I got to go with TCU. They're projected to finish 3rd. I don't think they have that big of a drop-off, maybe 1 or 2 spots down to 4 or 5. And you sneak Kansas or Oklahoma State in there and maybe even drop Oklahoma down to 4 instead of 2. But, it's just TCU. They lost a lot, especially Max Duggan. He was the heart and soul of that team. You lose people like Quentin Johnson. You lose a lot of key players on defense. It's just I don't see them really making that same jump. And also, I think they had a Cinderella season last year. I got to give them props. They made the national championship game, and then it kind of showed why they didn't deserve to be there.
Yeah.
But it was just they won all their Big 12 games and last seconds to win by maybe 7. It was just I think it was like I was saying it was a Cinderella year. They finished games well last year, except for that championship game, and I just think that they're going to drop back a little bit because I don't think they still have the same. They don't have the same firepower as they did last year.
I get you. I feel like there could be some national championship hangover as well after the thwarting from Georgia. So I just don't see them starting the season as hot as they would like to. Maybe they're not in a groove come Big 12 play. Absolutely. I guess let's move on to who's going to win the Big 12.
I think this is the first time that a lot of people have Texas in a long time winning the Big 12, and I'm going to sit there and agree. I think on paper, Texas has a top 5 roster in the country, not just the they have a top 5 roster in the country, in my opinion. And that's people say a lot of things about that all the time. They say people saying they've been saying that every year. And it's kind of true. They usually have a top recruiting class, and it haven't shaken out. And I mean, especially with I think a top 2, if not top 1, receiving core in the country. I think Quinn Ewers finally makes that jump. I mean, he gets more comfortable. We saw him get a lot more comfortable in that Washington game. Worthy's coming back, doesn't have any more injuries. I mean, you pick up some key players like A.D. Mitchell, and I think the team's just strong. I mean, defense too. They return Jalen Cathlon. I think he's I'm gonna be very excited to see him play. He reminds me of Cam Chancellor. He's a big hitting
100%.
safety, and I mean, I think Texas just I think I do agree this is their year. They don't have a tough schedule, so I got to go with Texas. Who do you got?
Yeah, obviously this is a Texas production, but at the same time, Texas is the only team in this conference, in my opinion, that has a roster that's capable of making the college football playoff and actually competing for a national championship. And then when you combine that with the fact that finally Sark has his guys in a position to succeed and, the recruits that he's wanted to bring in. With Kansas State and TCU taking steps back, I really don't think Oklahoma is going to be as big of a threat as some others may have projected, like in that Fox article. I really do think that Texas Tech is the biggest threat for Texas in the Big 12. So, yeah, I got to go with Texas as well. I just think that the roster is too talented and the coaching is – when you combine the recruiting along with, this is the 3rd year of the Sark regime, it's got to be Texas.
I think it's do or die this year for him. I mean, if he comes out and gives you an 8-win season, it's just going to be like he's on the hot seat, especially going into the SEC conference. I mean, I think to really kind of get that momentum going into the SEC, they need at least 10 wins. I need a New Year's Six Bowl at least. I mean, they at least need to compete for the Big 12 championship, in my opinion.
100%.
And then if I got to go for, I think I got to go with like Tech and KSU to kind of fight for that 2nd and 3rd spot. I mean, Tech, like I was saying before, is a sleeper team. I think this year, they really make a jump. And then Kansas State, I mean, I think they also have a very talented roster. I think they can really make some shade. I mean, they know they lost Deuce Vaughn. That's their most explosive offensive player. But I mean, Will Howard, I mean, he was very impressive last year, and I mean, I think this is his 5th year. Yeah, I mean, just he's got a lot of experience under his belt. I mean, I think what they're doing in Manhattan could, like with Tech and KSU, might be the biggest threats I see.
I would agree with you. But, y'all, don't go away because we'll be talking more Texas football when we come back, bringing in the Daily Texan Associate Sports Editor, Evan Vieth, coming up on the 1-0 Sports Show. Welcome back to the 1-0 Sports Show. Talking some Texas football now, bringing in good friend Evan Vieth, Daily Texan Associate Sports Editor. How are you doing this morning, Evan?
I'm having a great morning. It's one day until Rice. I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Let's jump right in. Evan, what are the keys to victory this week? Obviously, Rice brings in JT Daniels, and Texas needs to avoid a big upset. What, in your opinion, are the main keys that Texas needs to hit on?
I mean, as much as, early in the show you were saying, as much as we like to make fun of JT Daniels for his 4 schools, I want to say, in as many years. I mean, he right now would be Rice's second all-time leading passer with his career passing. He last year had more passing yards than anyone Rice has had since 2015. This is a better player than Rice has had in a while, and we didn't see this 2 years ago when we played them. He has returning receivers. As long as we're limiting their passing game, I think it's going to be completely fine. I do predict that we run away with this game, but early on at least, I want to see the passing defense, address him and make sure that he doesn't feel like he can just throw the ball over us.
100%.
And then how do you see the team's run game after, obviously losing a tandem with Bijan and Rojon in the backfield? Who do you think picks it up, and how do you think it's going to progress this year?
We were in the middle of the Big 12 in rushing percentages last year. I do think we're going to fall towards the bottom just because now we have, a great passing offense. There's a lot of guys for years to throw to, and I'm going to make a little bit of a stretch, but back in 2008, we ran the ball about the same amount as we did last year. 2009, with a leading freshman as a rusher, we lost about 5% of rushing and somehow made our way to the national championship. So I do think Sark's going to rely a little bit on Ewers to air the ball out a little bit more. And, I don't think we're going to rush the ball that much, but we got a tandem of about 5 guys who are going to be out there. We have 2 really good pass catchers in Savion Red and Keelan Robinson. I think that's going to be completely fine.
Absolutely. You addressed, the fact that the run game is going to take a little bit of a hit this year. How big of a step do you see Quinn taking, and what specific improvements do you expect him to build off of when it comes to looking at what he did last year and what he needs to do this year to bring this team to where they want to go?
The sky is the limit for Ewers. I'm going to temper my expectations and not go for Heisman, not say anything like that, but I really do think the deep ball is where we're going to see him improve a lot. That was a big struggle last year. He couldn't connect with Xavier Worthy, but now he has Adonai Mitchell, who is a deep ball and big play guy. 4 of his touchdowns came in the college football playoff in his career, and he's just a guy who gets up and gets the ball. Johntay Cook is going to have immense speed out there. He's going to throw the ball deep, but it won't have to be to Worthy, which is really important because Worthy, as much as he's a great player, the size isn't with him, and I think that's going to be a lot easier for Ewers to use. He's going to use JT Sanders more. That's a great middle of the field option, and I think he was last of all quarterbacks last year in rushing in the Big 12. I think he's going to use his legs a little bit more. He's a little healthier. I think we're just going to see him use a little more mobility. Not expecting him to be Jalen Daniels, but just a little bit of both of that, and it'll go a long way for Ewers.
Yeah, I agree with you. Especially with so much talent in the wide receiver room, you can kind of probably see them take a little less focus on Worthy, and he can finally probably break up for big plays. But speaking on talent, we have a quarterback room with immense talent. Who do you see being the backup to Quinn Ewers this year? Murphy or Arch?
Sarkisian is waiting till the very, very end. We keep asking him in the media days, who is it? He says Thursday, it's going to be Thursday. You will see on Saturday. So I do think it's going to be Malik for most of the year. But I think it's really good. It's a great sign for Arch that it's even a competition. Coming in, I think most people would have said, yeah, it's Malik Murphy. It's going to be the guy. And now you're hearing the wide receivers say they love the command that he has over the offense in the second team. He's meshing well with the team. He looks physically very fit. It's just really good sign that Arch is looking that way. But I do think if it comes down to it, they're going to want the guy who's been under the system for a year if it's a big game.
Absolutely. Little follow-up. Do you see Murphy getting any time and maybe a second package that Sark throws out at all?
I like the idea of it. I really do. I think Sark is going to more use his – I think there's too many assets on the offense that are skill position players to really throw out a quarterback in that. But I do, the Hurts Philly special kind of QB sneak thing. It's not the Philly special, but that could be something where he's the strongest quarterback we got. So QB sneaks might be Murphy's.
Absolutely.
It reminds me of back in 2016 when Tyrone Swoops was a backup to Shane Buechele, and that could be a kind of role I can maybe see Malik getting into this year. But,
I agree with that.
And then what new players on the squad, whether it's transfers, freshmen, who do you look for in terms of who's going to stand out the most this week or down the line?
I'm definitely looking at the defensive side of the ball. You guys already mentioned Catalan, big hitter. Just needs to stay healthy, but he was one of the best players in the SEC as a freshman, so you got to look out for him. And then I think what you're really going to see is an improved cornerback core, even though we lost players, because we got Manny Muhammad, who Steve Sarkisian cannot rave more about this guy. He has loved him in camp. He's going to be a day one impact guy. We have a good rotation of 4. And Gavin Holmes, who's a very under-the-radar transfer, a guy who comes in from Wake Forest, had 2 full seasons with them, and had 9 pass breakups last year. Just a solid player, and someone that I feel like we're going to be confident about isn't going to give up the big plays. And honestly, with a lot of players on defense, especially at cornerback, you just don't want to hear their name being said. You just want to make sure everything's okay there. So I think he's going to have a great time. And obviously, the big name on defense is going to be Anthony Hill. There's Maurice Blackwell's injured for the first 4 weeks. He can win that spot over David Benda instantly, and I think he could be a huge difference maker.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've raved a lot in this about the receiving room this day. Who do you think establishes themselves like maybe Quinn's #1 target?
You know, I don't think it's a hot take to say Xavier Worthy got worse last year. He decreased from his freshman year. I think a lot of it had to do with, it was only him and Whittington out there in the receiving corps. Casey Kane kind of got better at the end of the year, but now that there's a whole room around him, I really think we're going to see the Xavier Worthy we saw freshman year and even more. I think this is going to be the second best wide receiver in the country behind Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm really looking forward to a full year of Xavier Worthy not having to be going on streaks, and he's got a complete route tree. Let's see them use it.
Yeah, Worthy had a drop percentage his freshman year, something ridiculous, like 2.4%. And then last year it went up about 10%, which still isn't the worst when you look at some other receivers that have had big years in the Big 12, like Quentin Johnston had a larger drop percentage. And, but when you're a Texas player, those critics are going to come. What are the key factors, in your opinion, to help Texas bring home some hardware this season?
I could say a lot of factors. I think there's one factor and only one. It's Quinn Ewers. It really is up to him. And I mean, everything, he's not preseason All Big 12 first team. We know how the voters feel about Texas. But, I don't think he's deserved that yet, quite frankly. His yards per attempt was a lot worse than what you saw from Dylan Gabriel and Max Duggan, especially last year. He's really kind of in that tier of the middle guys when this is the only 5-star recruit, the only 5-star prospect, the best natural player in the Big 12 at quarterback. There's no reason he shouldn't be the best quarterback in the Big 12, but we haven't seen him do it. We have to see him do it. So if they want to win something, it's going to be up to Ewers. I think he can be, and I think he will be the best quarterback in the Big 12, but we haven't seen that yet.
You think they take home the Big 12 this year?
I think this is a Big 12 champion. I do.
Nice. Love to see it. Looking forward to some sidearm Quinn this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be a good time. Thanks for coming in, Evan. It was great having you. Always brings in great insight on the Texas football squad. Don't go anywhere. Next on the 1-0 Sports Show, we will be doing our pick'ems for the week. We got some college football and some MLB. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on the 1-0 Sports Show. Welcome back to the 1-0 Sports Show. We got our pick'ems coming up, picking some college football and, like I said, some MLB. And we got our very esteemed guest, Nate Sheldon, back with us. We already know how you're doing, so let's get right into it. New Mexico at Texas A&M, Saturday, 6 p.m. I got to go with Texas A&M. This isn't going to be very difficult. I think Texas A&M is kind of going to roll in this one. New Mexico's going to put up some points. I got Texas A&M 38-17. What about you, Mike?
I also got to go with Texas A&M. I mean, but the funny thing is I either have them killing them by 30 or have them winning by like 10. So, but either way, I have Texas A&M.
I got to go the other way. You know, Texas A&M, they got a lot of identity issues. Are they an agricultural school? Are they military? Are they blue collar? Are they academics? They're all over the place, so we're going with New Mexico.
Understandable. Let's jump right into the next one. The Battle of the Carolinas. We got number 21 UNC at South Carolina this weekend. Mike, kick us off. This was your matchup that you were looking forward to.
As I love this matchup. As much as I think UNC can go in there and pull an upset, South Carolina is still a strong team. They're not ranked, but I think that will change when we get to the mid-start of the season, so I got to go with South Carolina.
Okay. I'm also going South Carolina as my upset pick. I think that, you know, Spencer Rattler's built for this moment. He didn't have a great career at Oklahoma like he would have hoped for, but at South Carolina, he figured it out last year. I'm going South Carolina in an upset. What about you?
Surprise again, I'm going the other way. I think UNC has a lot of good juju going into the 23 season. You know, Chapel Hill legend Michael Jordan wore number 23. So I think that's going to work in their favor, as well as if you read American history, you know, when it's North versus South, usually the North tends to gain favor. So that's another reason.
Very valid. Now we're on to the Rice at Texas. I don't think this is going to have any shockers. I'm going Texas in a pretty big win, 48-10.
I'm going to have to agree. I think Texas takes care of business for Rice and gives JT Daniels his third loss at DKR in the same amount of years.
There's this notion of absolute truths, like 2 + 2 = 4, for example. Similarly, when Rice plays UT, it's always trouble for the boys in blue. So get your hibachi hats out. We're cooking fried rice this weekend.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it, fried rice. Awesome. Let's move on to Colorado at TCU. Coach Prime is visiting number 17 this weekend. A little bit of a preview of some Big 12 action. I got TCU winning 34-20. I don't think Colorado has made enough of a turnaround to make that big of a splash week 1. But it would be interesting to see if the Bison could take down the Horned Frogs.
I have to agree. I have TCU by probably 2 or more touchdowns, strictly because Colorado flipped their entire roster when Coach Prime came along. So I think it's like they have a bunch of freshmen. I mean, they never played together. It's gonna be sticky for them on the road. I think they'll pick it up midseason, but going into Fort Worth, I think TCU takes care of business.
This offseason was really tough for TCU. You know, they lost their heart and soul in Max Duggan and Quentin Johnston. Meanwhile, Colorado didn't lose a vital organ. They actually gained one. Enter Deion Big Cojones Sanders. I think he's just dripping with swagger that is infectious. The kids are going to play fast and loose, and I think they're going to pick up the dub this weekend.
Understood. I see you coming in with a big upset week 1. Colorado taking down TCU. And then we got the big dogs. Georgia's playing Tennessee Martin. I don't think this one's all that difficult to pick. The over-under is set. UGA is favored by 44.5. I got UGA covering that spread. I think they're going to win by 48 plus. I got them winning 51-3, but it could easily be much worse than that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure with the spread, I think they're favored to cover the spread. And me being like someone who loves to gamble, I don't care. They're not covering.
Wow.
I got Tennessee Martin winning. I got Tennessee Martin killing that spread, and UGA probably only winning by about like 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, for me, I don't even know why we play these type of games. Like, if you want to get ready for Alabama, don't just beat up on the smallest guy in the room. It doesn't make sense. You know, they're making money off of it or whatever. But, you know, I don't think this is only unethical. I think this type of game should be illegal in the future. I'm taking Georgia by 70, so taking the over.
Yeah.
Loud and clear. Now the big game of the week, the best matchup, the one we're all looking forward to, the one that we will have to wait until Sunday night to watch. LSU versus Florida State. Playoff implications are on the line. I got LSU winning 28-24. I trust what Brian Kelly is doing over there. I really like what Jaden Daniels has brought to the squad, and I think that their defense is ready to kind of move into their new SEC style of defense. I think it's going to be LSU's year this year, at least to make the SEC championship. So I'm taking LSU 28-24.
I like that take. I think LSU is a really strong team. They're returning a lot of people. I think they made a big jump last year in the SEC. But I don't care. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Give me Florida State. They're back, baby. I got them making a jump. I got them winning this game, especially because they're at home. I don't care. Give me Florida State.
Chop on, chop on.
So it's really fitting that this game is going to be played in Orlando because we're going to see a Disney-esque level of entertainment this weekend. Normally, I don't get excited by numbers, but when I saw number 5 versus number 8, I couldn't help but to do it. But honestly, I got to give LSU the edge in this one. Simply because of their diet, it's going to be a very gritty game. They're eating a lot of shrimp and grits. I think that extra grit consumption is going to pay off in the fourth quarter.
All right, the Bayou food is what's going to challenge them.
Absolutely.
I like that. That's a good one.
They're going to be eating a lot of gumbo after that victory.
Oh, yeah.
Let's turn it over to some MLB. We're getting close to some playoff stuff in Major League Baseball, so let's do some MLB picks. The Rangers and Twins play tonight at 7. I've got to go with the Rangers. I really trust what they're doing over there. I think that they're going to have a chance to make a deep run in this playoffs. What about you?
I have to agree. I'm picking Rangers as well. Rangers have had a great turnaround season since I've been watching baseball, which I'm not an avid baseball watcher, but I mean they're in that race with the Astros for first. I mean I think they have that chip in their shoulder to try and get that number 1 spot in the AL West. So I got to go with the Rangers.
Same as you. I'm not a big baseball watcher, so it kind of makes me sleepy. So I brought in a coin today just to figure things out for me. We got what Twins? We'll go Twins, win or loss. We got an L for the Twins. It is written.
All right, Rangers taking that. All 3 of us have Texas winning that one. On to the Yankees and Astros. This is always a fun one whenever it comes around, but for me, I gotta trust what the Astros are doing. 2 Texas teams kind of on a roll right now. The Yankees have looked really, really bad as of late, so gotta go with the Stros on this one.
I have to agree. I mean, the Stros are getting healthy at the right time. The Yankees have struggled this year, even though they're having a decent season. They're still at the bottom of their conference because of how well their conference is shaking out. So, I mean, I got to go with the Stros here, too.
Get the coin out. I'm going Astros with the L. That's 100% guarantee for me.
Yankees taking it on a coin flip. Now we got Orioles and Diamondbacks. I got to go with the Diamondbacks just because, I mean, snakes eat birds, right? Don't they? Or do birds eat snakes?
Birds eat snakes.
Birds eat snakes.
You might have to flip that choice to the Orioles then if that's your logic there.
Oh, man. Oh, that's embarrassing. I got to go with the Orioles then.
Snakes eat
We're
birds.
taking the Orioles.
Again, I'm not an avid baseball watcher, so I'm looking at. I knew the 4 teams above us, so I was like, yeah, I can probably make a valid guess there. But right here, I've never watched either of these teams play. But I do like the Orioles. I like the little penguin-looking guy with the hat. I like that logo they got, so I went with the Orioles.
I don't even think I need a coin for this one. Your argument was very convincing. Birds eat snakes.
Birds eat
Going
snakes.
Orioles.
There we go.
The last matchup of the day is Braves-Dodgers. This is absolutely must-see TV. Braves looking to make another World Series run. Dodgers looking to do something similar as well. I got to go with the Braves. Hometown Atlanta kid. Got to stick with the home team. Going Braves all the way, baby.
I'm going to have to flip that to the Dodgers. These are 2 teams I actually can say I do know. The Dodgers are coming off, I think they're coming off 4 losses in this previous month. So, I mean, they've been really hot, and I think that they continue that stretch. The Braves are a very talented team, but the Dodgers are just as talented, if not more. So, I'm going to go with the Dodgers.
All right, last coin flip.
All right.
It just says you will die on the. I don't.
You flip coins? Is it a different coin now?
I'm kind of scared, to be honest, but I think we need some bravery in this situation, so I'm going with Atlanta.
All right.
Okay.
That'll wrap up our MLB picks for the day. Take it away, Mike.
That will wrap up this morning as well. I mean, tune in next week at 10 a.m. again, and also check out our sister shows. We got College Press Box at 9:30 on Mondays, and then we have our executive producer of Crossfire right here at 9 o'clock on Wednesdays. Thank you. Have a great day.